Hi, good morning! It's currently 6:10 and right behind me is Canada Place, which is the starting point of our 28-kilometer walk along the Vancouver Seawall today. Good morning! Okay, bye-bye. Construction of the Vancouver Seawall began way back in 1917 and was officially completed in 1980 after 63 years. But that's just the part around Stanley Park. After 1980, they started extending the waterfront path beyond that area, and now it holds the record for being the longest continuous waterfront path in the world. From here, we can see the sea buses traveling from Waterfront Station to North Vancouver. And this is also where the seaplanes take off. Looks like they're quiet for now, but it's really nice to watch them take off. Then they'll fly from here over to there. And also, that's already Stanley Park. And we'll be there in just a bit. There are a number of sculptures along the seawall, and one of them is this one called the Light Shed, or more commonly known as the Crooked House on Stilts by artist Liz Magor, which was installed in 2004. Just like that, we're here at Stanley Park! Right at the entrance, we already see lots of nice things like ducks waddling around with their friends, and also this is where Vancouver Rowing Club is, as well as the Vancouver Yacht Club. And we are also being treated to a magnificent view of the Vancouver skyline, which includes notable buildings such as Harbour Centre with the Vancouver Lookout Tower, Living Shangri-La, and Fairmont Pacific Rim. It's pretty quiet, so there's not a lot of people still. Kind of underestimated just how long it took for us to walk from Canada Place up to this point. It's a bit closer to 40 to 50 minutes, but it doesn't really feel like it because it's sunny, but there's still a bit of wind. The weather and the sights, it's just a great combination. And if we take a bit of a detour, we'll find here one of the attractions, which is the totem poles. I used to think that they were meant for worship, but there is a plaque here that clearly explains they aim to tell stories, like this one in particular, which is about figures from the Kwakwaka'wakw indigenous nation, such as Red Cedar Bark Man, Siwidi, and the giantess Zunukwa. The artists said they made these to give quote-unquote strength for our young people and show respect for our elders. If you remember, we were over there, and then we pointed this gun out, and now we're here. Hi, Pastel! Now, I have never been in this part of town at 9 p.m. before, but I would like to one day in person hear this 207-year-old gun do its thing. The first time it ever echoed across Vancouver was on October 15 of 1898, and it helped mariners set their chronometers accurately. Before that, the lighthouse keeper of the Brockton Point Lighthouse, William D. Jones, would just detonate dynamite over the water. Brockton Point Lighthouse is also a preserved piece of history as it was established in 1890. Its light only officially dimmed in 2008, but it still stands tall looking over the inlet today. We have been walking now for a little more than an hour, and we have our helpful marker here, 2.5 kilometers. Upcoming is the famous Girl in Wetsuit. It was made by Elec Imredi in 1972 when scuba diving was gaining popularity here in Vancouver. Next to it is a fiberglass replica of the figurehead of the Empress of Japan ocean liner, which after having crossed the Pacific Ocean more than 400 times, was dubbed Queen of the Pacific. Now we're past Lionsgate Bridge and we're approaching my favorite part of the Stanley Park, part of the seawall in just a bit. And you'll see why it's my favorite. I mean, the camera just can't do any justice to this view. You've got the water on your right, and then you've got the mountains to your left. It's just as you were walking at the beginning of the seawall, you've been so used to the buildings and the skyline, and then you turn this corner and suddenly they're not there anymore, and it's just you, the water, and the mountains. It's so beautiful, my goodness. Fun fact about Lionsgate Bridge, this 1,823-meter connector of Vancouver to North and West Vancouver is the namesake for the famous film company, you guessed it, Lionsgate. It actually refers to an iconic pair of mountain peaks in the north of Vancouver, dubbed as the Lions. After it was erected, the man who built the bridge, A.J.T. Taylor, snuck his baby shoes into the lions that flank the bridge, where they remain until today. Farther along is this rock called the Seawash Rock, which is apparently an example of a sea stack. Normally, sea stacks are formed when waves crash into the bases of cliffs, forming sea arches whose roofs collapse when they become heavy. But what's different about Seawash Rock is that 32 million years ago, due to a volcanic dike forming in the area and magma being pushed to the surface, it formed this bowling pin resemblant stack that is more resistant to erosion. Now along the way there are tiny pocket beaches like this one. This is Third Beach, and then later on we'll pass one called Second Beach as well. And then when we pass that, that means we're almost at the end of the Stanley Park part. Referring back to the map, we are already at Second Beach. 8.5 kilometers. Yes, oh my gosh. So about 10 kilometers in 3 hours. I think we can do this. So we have found a spot to rest for now. I really want to stretch my legs. We're right in front of the water. Right behind English Bay is Denman Street. Madaming mga kainan dyan, madaming restaurants na iba-ibang cuisine. So if you fancy to grab a snack and then make tambay at the beach, you totally can because it's so close. Looks like we already reached Sunset Beach. It's also close to another street, like if you go up there, it's Davie Street. It's also full of restaurants. I've never been in this part before, opposite side ng Burrard Bridge. A good way to get around multiple sites in a day is riding the Aquabus or False Creek ferries. Their routes vary a little bit, but both travel to Granville Island, Plaza of Nations, and Yaletown. If planning to travel to 3 or more stops a day pass for around $17 to $20 for adults could be the way to go. I have linked their sites in the description for a more comprehensive guide. It's so nice that you can see pieces of history, habang naglalakad ka along the seawall. Meron talagang mga notes na pwede mong basahin so you can learn more as you go and see the sights. You're also finding out what they're about. That's nice. To be honest, I'm feeling a bit tired already. So I think maghahanap muna tayo ng makakainan and then we'll rest and then we'll pick up our walk from there. Science World is a science center found at the end of Falls Creek. It has many wonderful interactive exhibits and hosts enlightening and informative events. Even outside, they have displays made from trash to promote sustainability. Tickets are about $34 for non-member adults. It's also right in front of Main Street Science World Station of the SkyTrain Expo line. I didn't want to stray too far from the seawall to look for lunch, so fortunately there are multiple food places at the station. Unfortunately, they don't have seats, so after walking some more, I found a nice shaded, obstructed view of the creek. Tara kain! So we are already here at Granville Island and we can have a quick look around. I read on their website that they have great weather year-round, never below 5 degrees Celsius because of the Japan Current, which is a warm ocean current flowing north on the west side of the North Pacific Ocean. But since it tends to be breezy still sometimes, it's best to keep a light jacket with you. Some notable shops here include the famous Lee's Donuts, where there's almost always a long line, Vancouver Studio Glass, where you can watch master crafters do glass blowing, and the Granville Island Public Market. Although with more than 300 businesses present, there is so much more to discover. So that was Granville Island. Andito naman na tayo sa papuntang beach. So malapit-lapit na. At this point, I got a little bit lost. Hindi ko na alam kung tama pa itong nilalakaran ko. And I started to question my life choices and poor decision-making skills. Ang sakit na ng legs ko. Bakit ko ba ito ginawa? But after willing my limbs to go again, we found the right way and it was pretty straightforward from there. Ang galing kung gano'n ka-technically close lang sa isa't isa yung mga area. Kasi yan na yung Sunset Beach. Nandyan lang tayo kanina. And then, andun na yung Stanley Park. Crazy. We made it! Nandito na tayo sa Kitsilano Beach Park. But we still have to continue on until the very end para masabing natapos talaga natin yung seawall. Let's go! Lalayo na nung nalawin ng ducks. So, andito na tayo sa may Point Grey area. Makitid siya na daan, pero ganda ng view. Ito mas konti ang tao kanina kasi sa Kitsilano Beach mismo. Punong-puno. Almost to the end now. Almost to the end. And so there you have it, our 28-kilometer plus walk along the entire seawall. Sa totoo lang, tagal ko na tong pinuput off pero I'm really really glad na nagawa natin siya today. Kahit na naabutan tayo ng init, kahit na nag-cramps na yung pareho kong legs, kahit na super aga natin gumising, and kahit naglilimp na tayo towards the end, I'm really really glad na nagawa natin siya. Kasi the sights and just the experience itself makes it very worth it. I don't know kung gagawin ko ulit siya. Probably not. Pero yeah, thank you so much for coming along with me today sa ating really long walkathon. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. On to the next. Bye! This walk helped me experience firsthand that the modern environment and nature can truly coexist, that one doesn't need to be completely sacrificed for the other. All around us as we were walking, there were people kayaking in the waters, people cycling beside the mountains, birds having some shellfish for lunch, ducks just waddling about. Nature wasn't just for decoration, it was truly happening around us. I hope that as we continue to progress, there would be more opportunities for places such as this. Thank you so much for coming along today, and see you in the next one. Bye!